Prabhuji, if it's okay if I do it in this mode, I will just zoom in.
Sure, it's fine.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. I seek the blessings of all Vaishnavas so that I can do this assignment properly. And please feel free to provide your feedback at the end of the class. So we are group five, and on behalf of all my team members, I myself and Neelmani Prabhuji will be presenting. I will be presenting uh, verse 6, and then Neelmani Prabhuji will be presenting verse 7. So just trying to see where we are in the overall context of the entire gamut of nectar of instructions. We will be talking about verse 6 and 7, if we see. And let us begin now. दृष्टे स्वभावजनितैर्वपुषश्च दोषैर्न प्राकृतत्वम् इह भक्तजनस्य पश्येत् गङ्गाम्भसां न खलु बुद्बुदफेन पङ्कैर् ब्रह्मद्रवत्वम् अपगच्छति नीरधर्मः स्यात् कृष्णनामचरितादि सीतापि अविद्या पित्तोपतप्तरत्नस्य न रोचिकानो किन्तु आदरात् अनुदिनं खलु शैव जुष्टा स्वाद्विक्रमात् भवति तद्गतमूलहन्त्री. So starting from where there seems to be an apparent contradiction between text 5 and text 6, but as I heard the class, the contradiction was made very clear where it was not. Or so His Grace Bhayahari Prabhuji made it very clear. Actually, it's not a contradiction. Rather, text 6 complements text 5. So what was a contradiction? Uh, Text 5 tells us that we need to discriminate between devotees, different grades of devotees, and text 6, na prakrit tattvam, do not discriminate. But a deeper understanding, as given in the class, I realized that text 5, the connotation of the term discrimination is not negative. Discrimination doesn't mean that I have to disrespect anyone, but it's about respecting properly, giving proper respect. So it means to differentiate and then respect properly rather than discriminating for disrespect. And text 6 is talking about a spiritual master, that there is absolutely no scope of any disrespect to spiritual master or pure devotees. One we need to be I need to be ultra careful, because if there is any sort of disrespect towards the spiritual master, Lord Krishna is totally intolerant towards this offense. So why it happens? Why I do not respect someone properly? It because I my consciousness is improper. Because of my improper consciousness, I disrespect. For example, in material world, people disrespect each other to disrespect someone to demoralize them generally. But if we work on our own Krishna consciousness to attain the perfect stage, then I will realize, if I work consistently on my own self, I will realize that there are so many defects in myself. So surrender is very important in this. So that's that is the emphasis here, that if I strive for uh, unalloyed devotion, then there will be so much to work on my own self that I should not discriminate. So the point is, it takes one to see one, and generally if I am seeing some fault in someone else, it is because of my mental speculation, my karma and all. So that was one aspect. Another aspect is that uh, I should not see someone, and particularly pure devotees, with respect to their past background and material configuration. The example given in the verse is the water of the Ganges. Uh, so, bodily defects should not be criticized, and we have to focus on a spiritual master's main business. The central attribute is the pure devotional service to Lord Krishna, and Lord Krishna makes it very emphasis in the Rajvidya chapter 9, where he tells that even if there is some apparent discrepancy in the behavior, we have to be very careful. Now what happens, we forget that because of my material conditioning, I uh, project my own consciousness. Like in the material world, people discriminate based on caste, creed, religion, and all. Why? Because they want to get political dominion over that. But a spiritual master, pure devotee, is beyond this. He is in this material world only because of Krishna's mission. As Prabhuji made very clear in the class, that if uh, that Krishna keeps him there. Krishna keeps him there actually. For example, we see in our own history of Gauriya Vaishnava tradition, Rup Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, they were working for the Nawabs, but they were working to protect the Vaishnavas. They were working to protect the Vaishnavas. So if some, so we have to be very careful. Particularly, I am telling my own self, like, sorry, I'm interchangeably using this I and we. I need to be very careful. So that should not be, it should not be seen that okay, someone is a caste Goswami, but these problems exist in our society. Still it is existing. I have seen that. And then Srila Prabhupada talks about the Goswami title, and that it is purely based on the qualities of a Vaishnava. Prabhupada is not against someone coming from that family and giving, manifesting consistently the qualities of a Vaishnava. Prabhupada is not against them. But it's not that if somebody is not born in that family, he cannot be called a Goswami. Unfortunately, Prabhupada makes it very clear that the disciples initiated by Srila Prabhupada, they were discriminated against. And if we properly study Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita and the history of our movement, uh, these disciples, the Western disciples of Srila Prabhupada, they only dedicated their life. Uh, I'm not saying that. It's not that Indian disciples didn't, but it was primarily because of them. And Prabhupada always called them that you are representatives of my spiritual master. So why happens? Srila Prabhupada analyzes it. It happens because of jealousy or envy. And the propagation of Krishna consciousness movement is a transcendental, but unfortunately, it is projected that okay, there is so much propagation of Krishna consciousness, and because of being situated on materialistic platform, the projection of the envy which is there in the heart, someone tries to bring down uh, the activities of devotees to this mundane platform. That is very unfortunate. So how to avoid it? Proper vision of helps us to stay away from offenses to Vaishnavas. And then this the bodily defect should be completely avoided. Seeing at the bodily defect, because body anyway is material, and so if someone judges someone because of body, that he is from a particular caste or a particular country and all, that one has to be very careful. And Vaishnava, we must be very careful in respecting them, avoid material judgments, and see the internal features. So one has to be Shastra Chakshu. So we have to see based on scriptures. Criticism is basically born because of envy. Prabhupada has made it very clear. And Prabhupada, this paragraph is so clear that Krishna consciousness is not about a specific section of people or a special tract of land or a certain group. But unfortunately, because of my myopic vision, I focus on the external features and I fail to appreciate the advanced service of devotees and try to bring them on my own mundane platform. And then Prabhupada talks about the challenges in global propagation. Sometimes people make groups to criticize. So what happens when we offend empowered Vaishnavas? The Bhakti Lata gets completely uprooted. It's very, very dangerous. And Srila Prabhupada tells the example of father son. The father generally will tolerate any offense to himself, but for son, he doesn't. And in the last part, Prabhuji made this very clear with this story of Lord Brahma being offended by the six sons of Marichi, and how the weight was really wrong. Uh, and Prabhuji gives the contrasting example of the Saptarishis also, how they were submissive and how the sons of Marichi. And what happened? Prabhuji, kindly correct me. I was just trying to see how mathematically analyze it, how dangerous it could be. Because the Supreme Personality of Godhead said that it happened in during the age of the first Manu. And Lord Krishna, if I am not wrong, he appeared in the seventh Manu. And if one Manvantar is this much long, 306 million years long. So the wait is really long, really, really long. Why? Because see, when these six sons of Marichi, they fell down to demoniac species. First of all, they were born as son of Hiranyakashipu, and when they went for tapasya, again Hiranyakashipu cursed them that how could you go to do tapasya without my permission? Again, he cursed them. Again, they were born as the sons of Kalanemi. And again, in the next life, they were born as the sons of Mother Devaki and Vasudeva, and then they were delivered. And that too, that wait is very, very long actually. And particularly if we are waiting for this in this state, so it's very dangerous. I pray to all devotees that please bless me so that I'm away from it. Now I will hand over to His Grace Neelmani Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Thank you, Hari Saru. Thank you. Hare Krishna to everyone. Please accept my Dandat Pranam to everyone. I'm trying to, you know, complete the remaining part of the presentation. I seek the blessings of every Vaishnavas and kindly forgive me for my mistakes and whatever you have understood good, that is because of Bihari Prabhu, who has taught us, who has been teaching us for so meticulously, and we are understanding each and every part so clearly. Prabhuji, can you change the slide? Harivam Prabhu, can you go to the next slide? Yeah. And can you make it a little bigger also yeah, thank you so much. So this text number 7, it's Syat Krishna Nama Charitadi, Sitapi Avidya Pitta Utpatta, Rasanasya Na Ruchika no, Kintu Adrat Anudinam, Khalusa Eva Dushta Swadi, Karmat Bhavati, Tadgata Mulhantri. So this next slide, please. Yeah. Go to previous only, sorry. I have not yet. Yeah. And a little bigger also if you can make it. Thank you. The holy name, character, pastime, and activity of Krishna are transcendently sweet, like sugar candy. Although the tongue of the afflicted by the jaundice of avidya or ignorance cannot taste anything sweet because it is already, it is already suffering from jaundice. And it is wonderful that simply by carefully chanting the holy name, the sweet names of Krishna every day, a natural relish awakens within his tongue, and his disease is gradually destroyed at the root. Next slide. A little down. I can't see you. Yeah, yeah, that's it. So here we're talking about the spiritual health and the happiness, how we can spiritually be healthy. And it's like a sampada, like material sampada or the spiritual sampada. It depends upon which sampada or we are going for, which happiness we are seeking. The sweetness of Krishna is like the holy name of Krishna is so sweet. His qualities are so sweet. His pastime is so sweet, like sugar candy. His nature is absolute truth and beautiful and always blissful. Naturally, naturally the sweet and appealing to all. It is not like it is not sweet for somebody and it is sweet for somebody else. It is sweet for everybody. Ignorance is spiritual jaundice. We call it. It's like a avidya. Ignorance, avidya. Disease like jaundice. Jaundice destroys the tongue, the sweet taste buds, and avidya destroys the spiritual taste. Once we are in avidya, I'm in avidya, that means I will not have any spiritual taste, cannot relish Krishna's sweetness. And recovery through Krishna consciousness is the only means, whereas chanting the holy name of the Lord and hearing the pastime, and it cures the spiritual jaundice. It actually restores the ability to test the transcendental sweetness of the holy name of the Lord. And regular practice is very, very important where the spiritual health can be restored. Now, the true spiritual identity, as we have seen in many cases, that Jivira Srupa Nitya Krishna Das, we are the eternal servant of the Lord. And uh, the healthy state, there's only one healthy state, which is remembering and serving Krishna. In the material world, which is the false shelter, and it is basically durashra, where we try to understand, we try to, taste things, and we try to enjoy here, but that's not going to, lead for a long time. Being attracted to Maya, we actually forget our actual position, which is Krishna, and we have a faith in Prasha, which is hopelessness and suffering. Human condition in the material world is actually trying to be happy with the material means and ways, but this is the biggest mistake. And as Harivansa Prabhu said, it's mistake on mistake. It is ignorant of a spiritual cause of misery, and actually rejects the advice to take shelter of Lord Krishna. Next slide. Krishna consciousness, the key to drive away the ignorance. This is the only way we can drive away the ignorance. Otherwise, we may remain happy for some time, and after that, we'll be unhappy, because we know for sure when we leave the body, it is definitely going to be different time, place, and circumstances. We will forget everything, whatever we are doing. But this the only way is the purpose is Krishna consciousness movement, and the remedy for gross ignorance, which is avidya, worldwide. It is not, as I said, it is not only one place. It counteracts the misleading influence of blind leaders. Blind leaders in the society, they are like politicians and philosophers and scientists, and they are not Krishna conscious. They want to make the material more so that more and more polished, so that they can bhog. Uh, According to Bhagavad Gita, 7th chapter, 15th verse, it says it is such leaders are actually the lowest among the mankind. They are miscreants, they are foolish, their knowledge actually has been stolen by the avidya. Atheistic nature of demons like is asura bhava, and they do not surrender to Krishna because they think that we can make this material energy in favorable to us, and so that we can enjoy. And we have seen in many cases. We have seen in the Kashyapa cases, and we have seen there are so many such examples. We have read these stories, and we know these are not the just fairy tales. They are the actual things that happen. It result of the blind leadership is society filled with nesciences, ignorance, and people are actually reluctant to accept Krishna consciousness because they are every time they are just seeing all this thing which is untrue. And it's like a jaundiced person, somebody who is sick. He always will reject the sugar candy, which is the cure, and which actually gives you the taste, but they will reject. The Krishna consciousness, the only remedy, as I said, is the chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. It's a Cheto Darpan Majanam, as we have seen in the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given the very first thing. It actually cleans the heart, the mirror of the heart. It removes the misconceptions. And that's the only possibility of removing the misconception is the chanting the holy name of the Lord. And about the spiritual identity, it actually brings a entity very very closely. It destroys the ahankara, which is the false ego, which jiva thinks that I can mold this material energy according to my taste, according to my whims and fancy, and I can enjoy. But this gets clear. It is rooted in avidya. The path to recovery is through the difficult initially, but take Krishna consciousness seriously. It may sound that every day morning you have to get up, every day we have to chant, every day we have to do so many things, but actually once you start relishing the name of the Lord, then the chanting becomes a very very happy thing to do. It's chanting with the care, and it is basically affection towards Krishna. It cures the material disease, and affection is very very important to, yeah, the path to freedom through Hare Krishna Mahamantra, freedom from material disease. Chanting the Hare Krishna mantra is the essential remedy of this disease, the jaundice. Krishna consciousness movement aims to basically to create an atmosphere for chanting. It is not dull. It is not like uninterested. It is very beautiful. When we pass the room to room and you see Krishna's picture on the wall, we have a chanting this thing mechanism going on. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. When we go deeper into the meaning and we see, by chanting the real Krishna consciousness, it is a starting point, and the very starting point is having the faith. And it begins with the faith. The faith grows and grows, and it becomes stronger through the regular chanting. The regular chanting is the only methodology, then the faith will grow. Otherwise, it will not grow. It will remain on the superficial level. Joining the movement, is faith and chanting. It leads to become the member. Basically, you become a part of that family. There are so many people are like yours. They welcome you. They talk always about Krishna. They don't talk about anything on material plane. They do talk on a material plane whenever it is required, but ultimately their main aim is to discuss about Krishna, is discuss about his pastime, discuss about his glories. And society, spreads Sankirtana chanting. It's like a worldwide party, and the global impact is even the remote areas where we see, whether it is a very small temple somewhere. And I was traveling one day, and I saw a very very small temple. Once I go inside, and the Mata said, "Prabhu, have you taken the prasadam?" I have not met that Mataji, but that's the attachment, because somebody who comes inside the temple and he says Hare Krishna, that means he's a part of the family. The the mantra is actually, it affects a lot of people, thousands of people. People imitate, though people imitate sometimes. Oh, these are Hare Krishna people. They chant always. They are shaven heads. They wear Bhagwa Vastra. But even if that person gets the benefit, the spiritual progression is, some imitators become interested in formal initiation, and they eventually offer themselves to the spiritual master. Next slide. This is then the bhajan kriya and the spiritual progress, which is the memory map. The initiation and the bhajan kriya, the sincere practitioner of this movement is actually initiated by the grace of the Guru Maharaj, and he engages in the regular chanting, minimum 16 rounds, and which is the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and practices the, more discipline. It is then it comes the disciplines are introduced, and which is actually a disciplined life actually gives the birth to the happy life, because if there is no discipline, that means, it's like an animal also, some they feel, they I feel that they are disciplined, and they are very very basic. Any human being will say no illicit sex, no intoxication, no meat eating, no gambling. They are so beautiful things. Once we follow them, and then we realize, oh wow, such a beautiful, environment. The freedom from material contamination, it actually avoids the, outside food, restaurant food. It may look good in this showcase, but actually inside you don't know what consciousness it is cooked, and what and how long the food has been cooked, and the meat, onion, garlic, no smoking, you know, and then cleansing process. Thank you so much. Which is the anartha nivarti. And it's unwanted habits, they actually go away. When the bhajan kriya happens, then they gradually removes the anarthas. Attachment to Krishna consciousness grows more and more. And then the bhava stakes come, which is the awakening of the devotional ecstasy. With a fixed in devotional activities, the jivas knows for sure that who is he, what is he doing, why is he doing, and what is the ultimate aim in life, which is experience the ecstasy. Because it is not like, somebody's told you to you do this. That person can do only for some time, not forever. But when we see, when we taste that ecstasy in serving Krishna, when we see that mellow actually, then it is just an endless growth. And the result is spiritual freedom, which is, it actually loses the interest in the bodily identification. Somebody is talking to you in your family, outside society, you just don't pay attention, and you just smile. You just simply just, obviously because you are living in this material world, you have to live, but you just simply smile and go away. The material opulence and knowledge, material attractions to any kind of attraction, and then gains clear understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Next slide. Let's make it a little shorter, please. Yeah. Last is the bhava stage, and the Lord is a deluding potency, which is Maya is actually forgetfulness Krishna. It is because when we remain in the Maya, it means we are forgetting Krishna. Maya and Krishna, they can't go together. They can't exist together. It is like a light and the shadow. Once I am in light, I cannot be. I cannot be have the. I cannot have the shadow, because it is. I am in the light. I am not in darkness. Being in shadow means forgetting Krishna. I am in darkness. I am suffering. I am having so many diseases. Being in light, I am in Krishna consciousness. My progress may be slow, but I know the journey I am on, and I know one day I'll be able to go there. Bhava stage actually is a immunity to Maya, which is the devotee attains this bhava devotional ecstasy. It sees the real position of Maya. When we are able to differentiate between the Maya and what is Krishna, what is the real identity, and Maya actually cannot disturb or influence him. Spiritual analogy is from the Chaitanya Charitamrita is given, which is Krishna is like a sunshine and Maya is like darkness. So wherever sunshine, Krishna present. darkness has got no role to play. It's like sun cannot show you the darkness. When we are under the sun, there has to be light. I cannot ask sun, please show me the darkness. It is not possible. Now, taking to Krishna consciousness is a immediate, it vanishes the Maya's influence. And the result is the devotee maintains in spiritual light. They does not touch or get affected by any material darknesses. So thank you very much, everyone, for giving us the opportunity. And thank you, Bhayahari Prabhu, for taking us this journey. All good to Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Group 5. Excellent presentation. Very, I think you explained the philosophical points very, very nicely and presented them also easy to understand. Thank you so much for your efforts in making it easily understandable. Okay, so we will move on to Group 6 now.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji and dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. So this is group 6 presenting verses number 8 and 9. Verse number 8 says, the essence of all advice is that one should utilize one's full time, 24 hours a day, in nicely chanting and remembering the Lord's divine names, transcendental forms, qualities, eternal pastimes, thereby gradually engaging one's tongue and mind. In this way, one should reside in Vraja and serve Krishna under the guidance of devotees. One should follow in the footsteps of Lord's beloved devotees who are deeply attached to his devotional service. Next verse, analyzing the text word by word, Tad anuragi jana anugami, following in the footsteps of those who have spontaneous love for Krishna, ragatmika bhaktas found in Vrindavan. Tisthana, Tisthana vraje, one should live in Vrindavan, cultivate its mood. Kalam nayet akhilam, constantly utilize one's entire time. Karmena rasana manasi niyojya, gradually engage the tongue and mind. Sukirtana, chant, speak, sing, and discuss. Anusmrityo, meditate on. Tat nama rupa charitadi, Krishna's name, form, qualities, etc. Iti upadesha saram. This instruction is the essence or the amrita of Upadeshamrita. So we see that in this verse, Srila Rupa Goswami gives the essence of all the advices which has been given in the previous chapters, which is to fix one's mind on Krishna, to live in Vrindavan or cultivate its mood, to serve Krishna under the guidance of perfected devotees who have developed spontaneous love for Krishna and following their footsteps. So, the purport of this verse starts, Srila Prabhupada begins the purport by saying that the mind may be one's enemy or one's friend. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse 6, Krishna also says that for him who has conquered the mind, it is the best of friends, but for one who has failed to do so, mind will be the greatest enemy. Therefore, one has to train the mind to become his friend in discharging the human mission. The Krishna consciousness movement of Lord Chaitanya gives the most powerful yet most convenient method for controlling the mind. In Kali Yuga, when most methods fail to deliver the mind, the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the best way. The word mantra is made from two words, mana meaning mind and tra meaning instrument or tool. So the meaning of mantra is the tool to deliver the mind. Next, I have taken this chart from Prabhuji's presentation. Prabhuji has very nicely summarized the essence of this verse in this chart, beginning with why we should train the mind. We should train the mind because the mind can be a friend, a mind can be a dangerous enemy. The mind carries the impressions from this life and past lives, and whatever state of mind one leaves his body creates the next body. Therefore, it is important that we train the mind to think of Krishna. Next, it explains how to train the mind. Prabhuji explains that we can train the mind by various processes. For example, residing in Vraja under the shelter of advanced devotee. Sometimes we see that people visit holy places, but they do not derive any benefit. They do not advance in bhakti, and there is no change of heart because people sometimes visit holy places just to, drink the Vrindavan lassi or eat Mathura peda. But our acharyas recommend that one should visit the holy dham with advanced devotees who can guide and explain the glories of the dhama. Next is the process of remembering of Krishna and his eternal associates, and also how to serve Krishna with feelings under the direct guidance of advanced devotees or the spiritual master. So, in the purport, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Gurudev of our Srila Prabhupada, instructs that one who has not yet developed interest in Krishna consciousness should give up all materially motivated desires and simply engage in the regulative devotional service of the Supreme Lord according to the directions of the scriptures. In this way, train his mind by following the regulative principles of chanting and remembering Krishna's name, form, quality, and pastimes. In this way, after developing the taste for such things, one should try to live in Vrindavan, pass his time constantly remembering Krishna's name, fame, pastimes, and qualities under the direction and protection of an expert devotee or Ragatmika Bhakta. Let us try to understand step by step various stages of advancement. So, in the early stages of bhakti, a neophyte devotee performs devotional service out of the sense of duty. For example, we chant 16 rounds every day out of sense of duty and promise to our Guru Maharaj. But slowly, this chanting, we develop the attraction and attachment to chanting and taste for chanting. So when one develops, so one when sorry, when one's devotional practice becomes steady, they reach the nishtha stage, and as one undergoes the purification of heart and develops strong attachment attraction for the process, it is called the state of ruchi. When one begins to feel a strong emotional connection with the process of bhakti, it is asakti. With the descending mercy of Krishna, the devotee now experiences spontaneous affection for Krishna, and the focus changes from process to the object, which is Krishna. In this stage, the devotee performs spontaneous service even without following the regulative principles out of attraction to Krishna. This stage is called raga bhakti or devotional service in spontaneous love. In this picture here, we see His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj doing Mangala Arati in his sleep. Yeah, I found it very much related to the topic, so I'm sharing it. And for more clearer understanding, let us understand these stages with the example of a person who's trying to learn uh, how to ride a bicycle. So in the beginning, the learner has to be very careful. He has to follow all the rules, like he has to look straight, he holds the handle in a certain way. He has to get on and off the bicycle very carefully and in a certain way. He has to pedal carefully and he has to wear the helmet. But later, when one is expert, sometimes he can ride without holding the handle, sometimes he does not pedal. But if one prematurely tries to imitate an expert biker, he can meet an accident and fall down. Similarly, an expert devotee, like His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj in the picture, who has perfected the rules of sadhana bhakti, performs devotional service spontaneously out of love for Krishna. And just as all bikers follow the rule of wearing the helmet for protection, similarly, the helmet rule for all devotees is to serve Krishna favorably in various rasas such as Santa rasa, Dasya rasa, Sakhya rasa, Vatsalya rasa, and Madhurya rasa. Moving forward, the progressive stages of remembrance of Krishna and his eternal associates. So, in the neophyte stage, one should always engage in hearing Krishna Katha. This is called Shravana Dasha, the stage of hearing. In the next stage, when one becomes attached to the hearing of Krishna Katha, it is called Varana Dasha. And when one is able to chant in ecstasy, he attains the stage of Smaranavastha. At first, the remembrance of Krishna may be interrupted at intervals, but later the remembrance proceeds uninterrupted. When the remembrance is uninterrupted, it becomes concentrated and is called meditation. When meditation expands and becomes constant, it is called anusmriti. By uninterrupted and unceasing anusmriti, one enters the stage of samadhi or smarana dasha. After smarana dasha or samadhi has fully developed, the soul comes to understand his original constitutional position. At that time, he can perfectly and clearly understand his eternal relationship with Krishna. That is called Sampatti Dasha, the perfection of life. Therefore, a devotee should therefore, in the verse, it is Srila Rupa Goswami is recommending that a devotee should always reside in transcendental realm of Vraja and should always engage in the remembrance of Sri Krishna and his eternal beloved associates. One should place himself under direct guidance of particular associate of Krishna and follow his footsteps. This method is applicable both at the stage of sadhana, spiritual practices executed while in the bondage, in the stage of bondage, and in the stage of satya, God realization, when one is a siddha purusha or spiritually perfected soul. Next slide also I have taken from Prabhuji's presentation. And Prabhuji has very nicely organized these stages, the different stages in this chart. Um, in the conclusion of this verse, there are three aspects of practicing Raganuga Bhakti or training the mind given in this verse. Reside in Vrajabhumi or Vrindavan, which is where to live. What is the process? The process is remembering Krishna and his eternal associates, and how to serve under the guidance of a associate of Krishna in a loving mood. And next, we'll learn why it is emphasized to live in Vrindavan. Why not Dwarika, Jagannath Puri, or any other holy place? So, to this, Prabhuji explains that Vrindavan is the place where Krishna exhibits his most intimate pastimes of sweetness and divine love. In Vrindavan, service to Krishna is motivated exclusively by love, untouched by any other considerations, such as sense of etiquette arising from awareness of God's greatness, Aishwarya of Krishna. This intense absorption of the Ragatmika Bhakta is only found in Vrindavan. In Vrindavan, Krishna appears as a simple cowherd boy, prioritizing love and spontaneous affection over formality and opulence. Vrindavan provides the perfect environment for practicing Bhakti Yoga, as devotees can immerse themselves in the stories of Krishna's Vrindavan pastimes. Next verse is verse number 9, which says that the holy place known as Mathura is spiritually superior to Vaikuntha, the transcendental world, because the Lord appeared there. Superior to Mathura Puri is the transcendental forest of Vrindavan, because Krishna's Rasa Leela pastime. And superior to the forest of Vrindavan is Govardhan Hill, for it was raised by the divine hand of Sri Krishna and was the site of his various loving pastimes. And above all, the super excellent Sri Radha Kund stands the supreme, for it is overflooded with the ambrosial nectarian prema of Lord of Gokula, Sri Krishna. Where then is that intelligent person who is unwilling to serve this divine Radha Kund, which is situated in the foot of Govardhan Hill? So, in the previous verse, it is instructed that one should live in Vraja. And in this verse, and this verse gives a description of Vraja. What are the holy places? What are the special characteristics? Verse 9 describes the hierarchy of different regions of Lord's creation, with Radha Kund being the topmost place. Radha Kund, then Govardhan, then Vrindavan, then Mathurapuri, and then Vaikuntha. Now we'll go one by one through each place. So Vaikuntha is the spiritual world, the 3/4 of the total creation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is the most exalted region, superior to the material world. But Mathura and the adjoining areas, which are the part of material world, are considered superior to the spiritual world, because the Supreme Personality of Godhead has appeared in Mathura. The interior forest of Vrindavan, which is considered even more superior to Mathura because of the presence of 12 forests, um, Dwadashavana, such as Talavana, Madhuvana, and Bhandirvana, etc. Famous for these vanas are famous for various pastimes of the Lord. And next is superior to Mathura is the divine Govardhan Hill, um, because Krishna has lifted Govardhan like an umbrella, and because Krishna tends the cows with his coward friends. And this is also the place where he meets his beloved Srimati Radharani. And the most exalted of all places is Radha Kund, which is situated at the foot of Govardhan. It is superior to all because there is that because it is the love of Krishna that overflows there. A place of Radha Kund is the place of many memories of eternal loving affairs between Krishna and Radharani, Rati Vilasa, and Radha Kund is mainly worshipped by Gaudiya Vaishnavas, the followers of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. With this, I conclude our presentation. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Very good. Thank you so much, Shraddha Mataji. Very nice summation. As we go further into the NOI verses, they become more esoteric. They start talking about things that we cannot relate to, but we can aspire at some point. So our understanding there is mostly theoretical. If you look at the first verse, it is very experiential. Vacho Vegam, Manasa Krota Vegam, right there. And then it goes more and more into from Bhautik to Adhyatmic, and then it goes into the realm that is presented there just for us to appreciate. And I think Mataji did a great job and seeing it through the eyes of the scriptures, which is what Rupa Goswami also does that. Because one may question that if NOI is a book for neophytes, as Prabhupada says, that it's a book for those. For the Nectar Devotion, he says they're for practicing devotees. But for NOI, he says the book is for neophytes, for people who are not even practicing or thinking of practicing. And then putting such esoteric details has the risk of the ninth offense, right? Talking intimate details before a person with little faith. But Rupa Goswami wraps it in a way that is very difficult to be offensive, and like the way that was also presented. Okay, so I'll pause here. We have a few minutes left to see if there is any comments or questions to the presenters or to me. Yes, Padmini Radha.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandar Pranam. Hare Krishna everyone, Dandar Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhu, I just had a clarification to what Sharadi Mataji was talking about, visiting the Dham and the hierarchy that she presented, Vrindavan, etc. In the past, Prabhu, I've heard that when devotees, there are some devotees who move back to India for good, and then they sometimes start residing in the holy places. I've heard in the past, Prabhu, a very senior Mataji telling me that she was advised to she was advised against residing in Vrindavan by her Guru Maharaj. And I think the understanding is for long term residents, um, you have to be of a certain, I guess, I don't know how to put it, but is that a right understanding, Prabhu? And I wanted to know the reasoning behind it.
Thank you, Padmini. A very nice question, very practical question. Srila Prabhupada would also, in a more general setting, he would say that try not to live in Vrindavan for more than 3 days, because after that we start committing dharma prats. So initially, and we kind of, for those of us who have gone to Vrindavan, it's experiential also. The first day we go and we're all, Radha Sham Sundar, Krishna Balram, Purnitai, and the Goswami temples, it's all wonderful. And then after that, depending on it's maybe too hot or too cold, it's always too crowded. There are monkeys trying to steal your glasses. So then there's all those things that start happening. And then we start developing a offensive attitude, sometimes to the residents of the place, sometimes to the place itself. So we start committing dharma prats. So that's why the recommendation was to not live long enough, that it inspires, because it's a boost to our bhakti. You go to Vrindavan, you come back, while you're in Vrindavan, you're chanting nice rounds, and you come back, you carry a bit of Vrindavan with you. Nevertheless, there are devotees who are living in Vrindavan not just for days but for months and years, and they always live in this in a very prayerful mood. So I was once talking to Bhayahari Prabhu. For those of you who don't know, he is the husband of our temple president, and they lived in Vrindavan for a little over 20 years. And he was, I was asking a very similar question to him, and he was sharing that it is difficult, it's austere. One has to be constantly on guard. And he's a very he's an advanced devotee, but very practical also, right? Like, he would say that, sometimes when we found that the Vrindavan was getting too much for us, which means that the modes were reacting, he said then we would go to Delhi. we would take a break from Vrindavan, we would go to Delhi. And Delhi, of course, will sync up with any of the mode that you have, goodness, passion, ignorance. It will sync up with modes and get it out of the system and then go back to Vrindavan. So different devotees have different ways to protect their bhakti. But whatever has great potency to benefit us can also have the potency to take away. Right? So one has to constantly be on guard that that we're careful. And it's a very practical kind of a thing. So I remember earlier on we went, and this was this whole thing of Vrindavan. And Vrindavan, as you know, there are a lot of people waiting to cheat you also. And we were like, oh, but they are Rajvyasis and they're devotees. How should we deal with them? And then and the devotee asked from us, said this, that you should protect yourself. It doesn't mean that you let them cheat you, but then you can also be you don't have to become offensive towards them. So there is a balance over
Thank
there.
you so much, Prabhu. Yeah, I was talking to Sri Devi Mataji when she had visited us, and she was telling me she's a disciple of His Holiness Chandramouli Maharaj, and she is long term. She moved back to India, and she was sharing that she was advised to live in Mayapur instead. And when she was sharing that, I was a little intrigued by that, and I asked her the reasoning. That's when she shared that there is
Yeah,
uh,
yeah,
an aparad that she was trying to avoid, I guess, by long term deciding there.
yeah. Mahaprabhu is more forgiving. His dham is more forgiving. But the principle is still the same, right? It's not that we go to Mayapur and start beating
Correct.
people up.
No offenses on the strength of the holy
Yeah,
name.
yeah.
Correct.
So principle is still the same.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you for sharing. Okay, Chaitanya Das Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. So, somewhat similar question what Mataji asked just now. So, they say that you need to take permission from your Guru to take a dip in Radha Kund. At one side, we are saying that Radha Kund is the most sacred and you have to visit and all that. And on the other side, we say it's restricted. You cannot go and take a dip as you like. So, it's a kind of a, at least to me it is almost like a contradiction or a dichotomy. So I just wanted to check what's the right approach.
Thank you, Prabhu. Good question. And I think the progression. So group 5, they talked about the progression of the stages of bhakti, and the verses are essentially the instructions in the verses. Think of it as a time as a line of advancement, and these verses are perched on that line of advancement. So Shastri Krishna Namadi, right? That's the key verse, the chanting of the holy name, which contains Vanit Anatharivritti Nishtharuchi there. After that, the instructions come that one should aspire to live in Vrindavan, one should aspire to live in Radha Kund. So that's how we understand that the subsequent instructions are for people who have reached that corresponding stage of bhava and prema. Now, does not mean that we should look at it and say that obviously we are not at that stage, so this does not instruction not for us. It's for us two ways. One is that it's an aspirational instruction for us. That's where we should aspire for. And the second is, and this relates to the question Padmanabha said, mentioned that why did Prabhupada build the temple in Vrindavan? Because he wanted us to go there. Right? It's not that he believes that we are pure devotee, but he wants us to go there so that we get a taste of it. Right? Jiva Goswami makes this point that a little tangential, but it will help you understand this. he makes this very interesting point that even practicing devotees like us who are neophytes, we have glimpses of bhav and prem. So sometimes when we are chanting, we will also experience what devotees at the stage of bhava and prem experience. We could experiencing tears coming to our eyes. We could experience the presence of Krishna. The difference is that it comes and goes for them, it stays. Now, why do we experience it even though we are not qualified? Because Krishna is giving us a sneak preview. Krishna is giving us the taste. And if you remember in the first canto of the Bhagavatam, oh, I'm sorry, I sometimes mix my Bhakti Bible with Bhakti Sastri, but in the first canto of the Bhagavatam, Narad Muni gets the glimpse of Krishna when he is the son of the maidservant. He gets a glimpse of Krishna in his heart, and then Krishna goes away. And Narad Muni is like, "Where's Krishna? Where's Krishna?" And Krishna says, "You're not qualified to see me. But the only reason I appeared was to increase the desire for me." So that's why these dhams are there, so that people like us can go and we can experience that taste. And then we go back and then it stays with us. And we say we want more of it, until we become qualified to stay there permanently.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay. Nilmani Prabhu, please go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Prabhu, I think I was resonating with the point which you've just made and the question what Mataji has asked. I thought to share my, what I have learned from my Siksha Gurus, that Vrindavan is the place where you can go and just take a dip and have darshan and come back, because there will be aparadhs. Mayapur, you can go, and in Vrindavan, the offenses are not forgiven. In Mayapur, you can go, and the offenses are forgiven, but that is also not very this thing. But Badriga Ashram is the place where there's no offense. So you just can go at any number of times you want to and just have darshan and come back. So I thought just to, maybe it helps. But yes, Vrindavan is a place where you have to be very, very careful. Just go, take darshan and come back.
So you're saying that, I'm sorry, you said Badrika Ashram is a place where there are no offenses.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
often you cannot make because that place is so we cannot make any offenses there.
Oh, you
It's
should
not
not.
possible.
Okay,
Yeah.
I got you. Yeah, it makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing, Prabhu. Yeah. Okay. So since there are no more questions, comments, we'll end over here. Next week we will have group 1 doing the presentation, and we will also be concluding the Bhakti Shastri. Any questions with respect to NOI or the course as a whole? We'll have sufficient time next week because there's only one group and the verses are also relatively short there. So look forward to seeing you out there. वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। शिला प्रभुपाद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंद। हरि हरि हरे कृष्ण।
Thank you,
Thank you
Prabhuji.
so much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.